Hello, my name is Drew Pickles, and today I will be going to Antifa. For those of you who don't know, Antifa is a so-called anti-fascist group that claims to fight fascism, but what they are is really just a bunch of useless anarchists and communists who hate the modern establishment, because no sane employer would have any use for an uneducated fuck whose sole academic achievement is a shitty gender studies degree, with no other real skill or education behind them. They are a bunch of rabid, violent social justice warriors dressed in black clothes and hoodies to protect their identities like the cowards they are, and they harass and violently threaten anybody who doesn't agree with them, labeling them as racists and Nazis. And now you may ask, why would I go and waste time in such losers? Well, let me explain. One morning I got out of my bed, which was littered with the ravaged bodies of the Barney Bunch, whom I had mercilessly raped the previous night, after I hid under their bed and pulled my infamous boogeyman surprise nighttime butt sex act. I walked out into the kitchen, stared out the window into the morning sun, as I grabbed a cold Martian piss brand beer from the fridge, when I saw that the window in my living room has been smashed in. I had put up a pissed off expression as I went to examine the window, and I saw that there's a giant rock piece smashed right into my PlayStation 2 console that I just got the day before to replace the one I had lost in Kirk Johnson's previous video, Drew Pickles Goes to 7th Heaven. I was like no as I dropped to my knees and looked at my ruined console. Then a catatonic Barney waddled into the room, with semen dripping from his ruined orifice, and he said, "Drew, you fucking 90s hipster faggot, why don't you get a fucking PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4? Fucking get with the times, you fucking goober." Then Barney passed out and fell straight on his face, as his asshole let out a creamy fart, splattering semen all over the wall. My eyes bulged out of their sockets in rage, as I grabbed the rock, and just as I was about to shut it up Barney's beehole, I noticed that someone's written hashtag Antifa and hashtag down with racism, and hashtag all whites must die on it. Then I knew that it was none other than some Antifa faggot who was responsible for this outrage. So, now I will go jump into my penis-shaped car, taking my ruined PS2 console and the rock that smashed it with me. I will drive straight to the nearest Antifa gathering in New York, with my eyes bloody red from the rage. In the way I will see a bunch of Antifa members clad in black clothing, as they harass and violently threaten a regular family going out with their children for being gender binary, white, and heterosexual. My face will turn into an evil grin, as I put the car in drive, and I proceed to stomp the pedal and ram my penis-shaped car straight up the ass of the first Antifa faggot. My car will be sticking out of his ass, as the guy screams from below his mask in pain and horror. Then I will jump out of my car, and proceed to rape all the Antifa faggots like using your masks, your hoodies and black clothes, as dildos now suck my dick now lick my balls slurp. Okay, now it's time to get back on track. Bag, that was swell. Then I will pull out of all the Antifa faggots' buttholes, and I will grab my car, and pull it out of the ruined, torn asshole of the Antifa member I drove it into, and I'll continue on my way to the nearest Antifa rally. When I get to the Antifa rally, which is being held at the nearest university owned by none other than that Nazi collaborator George Soros, I will of course bump into an enormous, mastodontic, out-of-this-world-sized line made up of Trump-supporting niggers, who are sick and tired of the left-wing faggots and their white guilt. Dirka Allahu Akbar shouting sand niggers, who want nothing more than to rape white women and spread the religion of peace, Islam by slitting the throats of all non-believers. Leftist liberals with lots of white guilt, who want to send all Trump supporters to gas chambers, because they consider them to be worse than Hitler. Lots of black hoodie-wearing, masked Antifa thugs, who are busy beating up and harassing elementary school children and old people for being white, gender binary, and not supporting violence against anyone with right-wing ideals. Rabid neo-Nazis, who are trying to blend in with the right-wing Trump supporters, while blaming Jews for all the problems in the world. Furry Antifa members with their Sonic plushies and soiled diapers that are overflowing with viral so green that Kirk Johnson's liver suffers a fatal viral congestion, and it explodes out of his chest with the force of a small bomb, leaving him laying dead in his desk face down. Rabid feminists who all look like Trigglypuff, waving their flabby arms and screaming against hate speech with tomato red faces, as they condemn the patriarchy and want all males to be castrated and locked up forever, because all males are rapists by nature. Antifa-supporting bleeding-hearted liberal university professors, who want multiculturalism to dominate the West, and are proposing that anyone who disagrees should go to a gas chamber, and that white genocide is the only solution to first world problems. I will stand in line for what seems like the time since Kurt Johnson last made a Drew Pickles video, but is actually less than the time anyone still spends watching Walking Dead. I will pull out my trousers serpent, my mastodonic, 300-mile-long cock, and begin jerking off to an extremely fucking juicy fantasy of Donald Trump bending over, stretching his pudgy butt wide, and taking my dick in his asshole like G. For such a swell buffin, you sure do have a nice and juicy ass. Trump and I will be riding a mechanical bull, as I keep fucking him in the ass. Now flip around you queer and suck my cock. Wow, you're really good at this. Okay, now here comes the cumulative. But just as I'd ejaculate, one of the Antifa supporters will notice me, and then try to smash my face in with his fist whilst screaming something about my glasses being anti-communist and my skin color being offensive to other races. I will dodge his fist, and then I will proceed to grab him by his hoodie, tear his mask off, and shove my dick down his throat. You Antifa scum are all cowards. You hide behind masks and harass people, but when they fight back you run like little bitches. Now take it in the ass. As much as Kurt Johnson despises Nazis, he considers Antifa to be even worse. I never understood why communism isn't as hated as Nazism, despite having killed even more people. Anarchists are all special snowflakes living in a fantasy world. Okay, now here comes the cum bag that lost well. Then the entire line will turn towards me, as the dead Antifa member will slide off of all 300 miles of my mastodonic cock. The feminazis, the Muslims and the furries will be screaming at me, and just stand there, as they expect the Antifa to attack and violently lynch me to death for being a white, male and cisgendered. But when the black-hooded faggots see their dead comrade, they will all collectively piss and shit their pants, and then they'll proceed to run screaming to their mother's basements. Then I will use my cock as a lasso, as I lunge out with it, tie it around the mass of Antifa scum that are running away, and I'll bend over and pull my pants off, as I reel them all head first into my butthole. Wow, this is so fucking swell. Wow, your masks are making that malignant cancer in my sigmoid colon really itch. The syphilis, cause this is as close as you fat basement dwelling losers will get to losing your virginity. Then my butthole will suddenly swallow all the Antifa members, and let out a big burp. Then I will proceed to bend over, stretch my goatee wide, and proceed to fart out a ginormous load of gonorrhea, polyp, cancer and STD-ridden, agonizing fat Antifa members onto all the white guilt-ridden liberals, neo-Nazis, adult baby furs and sand niggers, and Trump supporters. Then I will pull out my mastodonic, 300-mile-long cock, and proceed to shove it up the asses of every male organism in the line, down to the ants in the pavement, and I'll rape them, like using your soiled diapers, your anti-racist and anti-white protesting signs, your gender studies degrees and bike locks, and till this now suck my cock. Then I will suddenly notice that all the rabid, male-hating feminazis will be standing by, jerking off their dick-sized clipped dorks like they were dicks to the rape scene with bulging eyes, enjoying the rape of males, until I proceed to lift up the gigantic ball of raped males, and bash them into a fine paste with it like bash. Good, now the feminazis are dead, I can go back to work. Okay, now here comes the cumulative. Bag that lost well. Then I will whip my cock, sending thousands of dead, cum-covered bodies flying in all directions, and painting the entire place in shades of white and red. Then I will proceed to take a walk to the nearest university, and walk in the front door. I will come across another group of Antifa members, led by none other than that cowardly faggot Eric Clapton, the pussy who bashed people's heads in at protests with a bike lock, and his special squad of communist, anti-fascist and anti-capitalist thugs. They will all be armed with AK-47s and clad in red army attire. Eric Clapton will then say, "Drew Pickles, you are a proud white cis male, and while you are not a right-wing racist, you are still not on our side, bashing, harassing and beating up all those who refuse to agree with us, so you are our enemy, and we must do the same to you. That is why I bashed your window in with a rock, and now I will bash your skull in with my bike lock of communist justice. Those who are not with us, are against us. Long live the communist revolution. Get to the counter-revolutionaries. Then Eric Clapton will charge towards me, which is by clock, as his friends hold me at gunpoint, but I will just use my homosexual, cat-like reflexes, and proceed to shove my dick straight down the throats of the other communists, and then I will grab Eric Clapton by his hippie hair, and proceed to pull off his pants, before I reach into my asshole, pull out the ruined PlayStation 2 and the rock, and I'll shove both of them up the pee-hole of Eric Clapton. Then I'll just watch, with 4 guys choking and hanging off my cock, as Eric Clapton prances around in the middle of the hall, screaming in agonizing pain, with the PlayStation 2 and the giant piece of rock stuck halfway up his cock, their shapes bulging out of the puny man-piece. Eric Clapton will be left totally helpless and clueless, trying to ease the pain, as he continues to perform some kind of ritualistic pain dance, with his pants around his ankles, before he tips over, and falls dick first onto the floor. The combined pain from the thing stuck up his pee-hole, and then falling on his dick will cause Eric Clapton to spontaneously die from shock, and he will be left on the floor missing half his teeth, with a frozen expression of agony. Then I will proceed to perform CPR in Eric Clapton, bashing my enormous balls onto his chest, bringing him back to life, just long enough for him to scream in pain one more time, before I silence him with my cock. Then I will proceed to rape Clapton and his entire squad like now take it up the ass. Now you are a man, aren't you? You by clock bashing faggot. Kurt Johnson was seriously pissed off when he saw that shameless faggot straight up bash that poor man's head in with a by clock. I mean, come on, how the hell can you be that much of a vicious, vile scumbag with an unarmed person who was trying to ease the confrontation? All you Antifa scum are violent thugs, and you're the real fascists. Communism will fail, just like it has in the past. While Kurt Johnson doesn't know the answers to the problems of the world, he knows for sure that communism is an evil, just as bad as Nazism, and that it must be resisted, just as much. These anti-fascists are just further proof of how twisted and evil communism is. Okay, now time to raise your pain to a whole new universe. Then I will pull out of Eric Clapton's face, and proceed to shove my dick straight up his pee-hole, sending the PS2 and the rock all the way up into his kidneys. Eric Clapton's face will be totally blue from the agony using your bike lock, your communist shanka, and your red army uniform. As till this okay, now here comes the cum. Egg, that was swell. Then, after I throw Eric Clapton's corpse off my dick, the big fat fucking manager will burst out of his office and say, "What the fuck is going on here?" I will see that the manager is none other than George Soros, a billionaire Marxist Nazi collaborator, who will be dressed like Emperor Palpatine, and staring at me with his soulless, empty eyes. Then I'll respond to him, "My name is Drew Pickles, and I came here today to get the record straight with your shit-eating disciples, and you too, you disgusting, vile fuck." Then George Soros will smile softly, but his smile will be nothing but pure, concentrated evil, as he says, "My poor boy, Drew Pickles. You cannot defeat me. I am greed and power hunger personified. I busted the British pound and ruined people's lives just for monetary gain. My greed is rooted deeply. I have worked with the Nazis, robbing my fellow Jews, and I, together with my non-governmental organizations, do my best to undermine democratically elected governments across the world, just so I can create more chaos and misery for the sole purpose of gaining more power and money. Just like those before me have funded the Bolshevik revolutionaries to overthrow and murder the czars, even their children, I will fund those who will one day overthrow and kill those who lead Western society, so I can become even more powerful and rich. My greed is bigger than me, and it is bigger than you. I will not tolerate a word more, as I will grab my cock, and proceed to shove it in the face of George Soros. He will put up a flabbergasted and disgusted face, as I begin raping him like you sure are a vile piece of shit, you old fuck. Rockefeller finally died after not even his 7th heart transplant could save him. Hopefully you will join him in hell to It's already bad enough you collaborated with Nazis, robbing your fellow Jews, as they were sent to death camps, but you later refused to show any remorse over it, you twisted monster. Now I'm gonna give you 12 new buttholes, and plus 1 for free. Okay, now time to cure your disease with another disease, aka my billions of STDs. Egg, that was swell. Then, just as I'm done coming into Georgesaurus, his body will suddenly collapse into itself, and from his suit a swarm of the biggest, most disgusting cockroaches will swarm out, and they will all head to the nearest toilet, where they will disappear. I will stupidly stare at the swarm, as it goes down the disgusting, shit-stained toilet, and before the last one shall disappear, I will hear the echoes of the vile laugh of Georgesaurus from the toilet. Wow, that was so Antifa bashingly, left-wing rapingly, Nazi fuckingly, Kurt Johnson liver explodingly, Georgesaurus face molestingly, cum guzzlingly swallow. I think I will go do all that right now. See you later, my sexy faggots.